Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. Only Run Very Noob is today. Oh my gosh, happy day! We finally got Guardian boots, baby. We finally got them, guys. Let's go! Okay, I think these boots are actually pretty damn good. The first time I saw them, I was like, yeah, they're okay. I probably won't want them in a bunch of matchups. You know, giving a quick into some decks is kind of dangerous. But we just have the best fridge in the game now. Let's compare it to Lexi. So Lexi has the same in the boots, one less in gloves, and 3 more in chest. Okay, maybe Leviah still has the best fridge if she's on the gloves that prevent 2. But if they're on Gambler's gloves, they block what? 6, 8, 10, 11? And we're blocking 12, baby. I think with Shield, we even block like... So how much is that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, 14. So we're blocking 11 or 14 here. That is absurd. That is just such a huge fridge. Maybe not bigger than Leviah, but that's okay. Carrion Husk is busted. But man, we finally get some amazing boots. And what I really like about these boots is that they're going to be very skill testing. You know, I've heard an old saying about Stalagmite where people were saying like they could tell you how good a player was by watching their 2 Stalagmite blocks. And I think that that's going to be very true with Civic Steps as well. Obviously, blocking with these inappropriately will be incredibly punishing for you, as opposed to like Stalagmite. It's just less good for you where you block it. You're obviously Stalagmite gives your opponent a frostbite, which is always kind of good for you, where Civic Steps giving your opponent a quicken can sometimes spell doom for you. So it's going to be very skill testing, which is something I quite like, is someone who puts in a lot of time and effort into being a skilled Guardian player. So let's talk a little bit about the matchups where this might be a little scary. You know what? First, I should probably address my attire. I had an interview this morning. I got home. I'm like, I need to record a video. I started taking off my suit, and I was like, why not just wear this suit? Why not just bring you guys the so fresh and so clean look? You know, I even got my hair trimmed up. I don't got the ones sticking out the sides here. We're looking good for you guys. You know, might as well because we got some new shoes too. But yeah, so the matchups where I think this might be a little scary to use. It's a very short list, and that list is Warrior. So the reason I think against Dorinthia these might be a little scary is because you generally want to use armor to stop them from going again and end their turn. And if you do that and give them a quicken, that's very scary. I don't see a lot of spots where you're going to block with your boots against Dory and then let them attack again after you block with armor. Like, that's just not really how I like to use my armor against Dory. Maybe leave a comment down below if there's something I'm not thinking about. But usually when you use armor against Dory, it's because you want to turn off Reprise, you want to keep a big hand, and you want their turn to stop. So yeah, these might be a little scary against Dory, but it's just more armor block against Dory too. And sometimes the quicken might be like redundant in on their turn if they're playing like a Glistening or a Warrior's Valor or a Glint. Obviously not great to just hope that their turn is redundant with the quicken. And that's why I think that's probably at the top of my list of scary matchups to play this in. Although you probably still will play it because I think this is going to be main deck staple and you're not going to be bringing any other boots to swap in for Dory. And against the other Warrior Bolton, I think it's also kind of the same deal. Um, Giving them a quicken seems kind of scary. Like when they have that new charged banneret that gives them a quicken, it's always a little sketchy. But against Bolton, there'll be a lot more spots where you can use your armor and expect them to not be able to use the quicken. So like on a Lumina turn, their first Raiden swing, you just block with this and give their second Raiden swing go again when they don't have any other cards behind. Seems pretty good. They're probably not just going to pass and bank the quicken, because if they played Lumina, they're going to want to swing with their Raiden. So it's not as scary against Bolton, but the quicken can be kind of sketchy. So the matchups where this is good, I think, is sort of like, I guess there should be one more that seems scary, and that's the mirror. Now, when these boots first got spoiled, I was thinking, oh, giving a quicken to Bravo is not that scary. But the thing is, they don't really attack you twice in a turn where you want to use armor. And if they get to bank a quicken, they can kind of have like a 3-card Rouse the Ancients turn, right? So like if they have 2 blues and a 4-drop or cheaper attack in their hand with a surge up, they can just like throw blue chokeslam for 6 and then pitching 1 blue and then pitch the second blue to hammer you for 6. And they kind of get to make their own Rouse the Ancients, which is a little scary. Of course, you could use the boots to like block a Zealous Belting or Rouse the Ancients, then making their hammer follow-up have go again, which they can't generally utilize. But using armor to just block normal damage against the mirror is not really where I want to be. Still, it is a bunch of armor, and hopefully when you use the boots, you can still like maybe keep them off of a 3-card Rouse the Ancients or Rouse the Ancients at home play. Because if you use boots, you could always just like follow up with a Crippling Crush or your own Rouse, or just like make them block with more than 1 card, and then they can't really use the quicken, which is quite good. Against brutes, you just wait till they play Blood Rush Bellow and block like their first or second claw, depending on how big their hand is. And they're not really going to be able to use the go again. Like they're generally going to want to swing with the claw again. If they have a big enough hand to where you think they could potentially go claw, you give them a quicken, and then they go like swing big into Endless Maw or something. You just don't give them the quicken on the first claw. You give them the quicken on the second claw and move on. Otherwise, giving them letting them bank a quicken is kind of scary, because they can just like 3-card 12 you, quite like Bravo could with Surge. Against Lexi, when they choose Arrow Go again and they have like their last arrow in Arsenal, you can just block this to stop a breakpoint, and they either have to choose to bank the quicken or shoot the last arrow and waste the quicken. So that seems pretty good. Of course, against Dromai, you're going to be on Nolrun boots, so it's a non-factor. Briar will be gone, but against, if Briar was still around, it would be kind of scary. But again, you could just, choose to bring Nolrun, and it's not a big deal. Obviously, against the Wizards, you're not playing this, you're playing the Nolrun. So I think it's pretty good. Very happy about these boots. Just wanted to talk a little bit about it today. Don't really have anything prepared, just going off the cuff. And yeah, so one of the big things about these boots is you get to choose when to give your opponent a quicken. So you can just like block with armor and save a huge hand that's like a 5-card hand that's like 3 blues, Spinal Crush, Pummel, and you can just dominate Spinal and then pummel it, and they're not going to be able to use the quicken anyway. You could like dominate Crippling Crush or something and force them to just really not have a turn. A lot of times some aggressive decks will like take 11 and have like a 2-card hand, but Civic Steps almost incentivizes them to block 3, take 8, discard 2, and then Arsenal the last card, banking the quicken. So giving you more tempo that way. Of course, I haven't had a chance to play with the card yet. It could end up not being as good as I'm thinking, but I think it will be as good as I'm thinking. I think this is going to be main deck staple. I think at first glance, you're like, oh, I don't want to give a quicken to my opponent. But then upon further consideration, you go, yeah, I mean, that might be fine. Um, if we're starstrucking them anyway, if we're spinal crushing them anyway, if we're picking really good spots to use it, so let's think about some other matchups maybe. Against Azalea, does this really do anything? Like, the only way they can shoot more than one arrow in a turn is either Bolt and Shot, which already has Go Again. And if you block the Bolt and Shot to stop the on hit with this, they get a Quicken, and like, what are they going to do with it next turn? Like, maybe they could like Arsenal Bolton and shoot it with Go Again, or Arsenal and Arrow, shoot it with Go Again, and then use the bow, which could be kind of scary. But you could always pick like better spots. And the only other way they have to get more than one arrow in a turn if they don't start with one in Arsenal is Band and Bullseye Bracer. What's like another matchup that I'm forgetting about? Of course, against Illusionist, you use Null Rune. You probably don't use Null Rune against Prism, but the Prism build that's good against you is already playing attacks with Go Again. They're like irising you. So it doesn't really do anything there for them. Although I guess, you know, Herald of Erudition or something could be scary, although this is just another equipment that allows us to block up a Herald of Erudition that doesn't have Phantasm or something. Against Ninja, this is just great. Like, their entire deck has Go Again anyway. Like, maybe you let them have a Snatch with Go Again, but honestly, I think the extra block is like good always, and they're not always going to have the Snatch. Of course, you're going to get blown out by Snatch on occasion. E-Strike, draw a card on occasion. But I think if you're smart with it, you can mitigate those downsides. Rune Blade, you're bringing Null Rune. So what classes am I forgetting here? Okay, let me pull up my sideboard guide here, and it'll have all the matchups. I'm really excited about these boots. I think these boots are going to be great. We've been waiting a really, really long time for Guardian boots. I don't think Guardian boots exist. I think the only thing we had was generics. So, okay, so Assassin. Giving an Assassin a Quicken might be a little scary. They could play like Leave No Witnesses, or they can play like a Death Touch from Arsenal into a big thing. But if they start their turn with a Quicken, they can't really get value out of the Quicken and have you under the effects of the Spider Bite. So they either have to pick if they want to make your cards block worse with Spider Bite, or use the Quicken to like throw a Death Touch and give your attacks block power. So it's like not free for them to abuse the Quicken there. I guess against Dash, it saves them like a resource at this point. Or they could just like not boost an attack into dagger stuff, which might be worth a little bit, but probably not like a huge deal. And yeah, that about covers it. So I think these boots are going to be very good. I think you're going to see them everywhere. Like I said earlier, I think they're going to be a main deck staple. Really exciting times for Guardians. So I just wanted to make a little video about these new boots because I was excited. And thanks for watching. Hope you can share in my excitement. Comment down below if you're excited about the boots, about maybe some potential fun lines you could think of to like mitigate the downsides. Maybe sort of like what cards you're sandbagging to like make it so they can't utilize the Quicken. It'd be fun to read those and get excited with all you Bravo players out there. I'll be back next week with more videos, more gameplay, and who knows, maybe even more spoiler reactions. Alright, thanks for watching.